If you only knew the power of the dark side. Adventure. Excitement. Jedi craves not these things.
Shirt off. God.
You have been trying that Jedi mind trick on me since the 8th grade. It doesn't work.
Oh, it works.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Escape Reality Star Wars Talk. I'm your host Caleb, and this is my friend Seth.
Got me.
Oh, did I get you
Where to
bad timing?
don't worry about it. It's fine.
This week we are here to talk about the High Republic Out of the Shadows. But there's a couple things that happened in the news first.
There's a few.
Yeah, there's just a couple. Not too many big things. First off, so Rogue Squadron got announced that it is off the release slate.
Mm-hmm.
So that just means. So really, what they did is they just said it's not on the 2023 spot that we said that it would be, and that we knew that this was going to happen because they haven't finished writing it, let alone are filming it.
Mm.
And if you want a film to come out in 2023,
Yeah.
you should already be filming it like right now. Like right now, they should be filming it if they're trying to get it out in 2023. So obviously that's not happening. Now the speculation becomes, well, does that mean it's canned completely? Or is it just off the slate for now until they can figure out what they want to do with it? And we were talking about that before going on air.
Yeah.
I think it's they're figuring out what they want to do, and then they're still gonna do it. It's not gone. I think they're just trying to figure out what the plan is.
Sorry if I come across as a bit tired today.
Yeah.
I woke up an hour ago.
Yeah.
If that. But the other discussion is like, there's already one big kind of flying movie out this year.
Mm-hmm. But what do you think though, in terms of like, do you think it's gone, or do you think it's just as it appears up front that they just removed it from the slate?
I think it's just been removed from the slate. I don't think it's for now. This is one of those things where I'm like, I know not a damn thing about this.
Yeah. The other thing.
What is the other thing?
So that video game
Oh yes.
that we don't know when it's coming out. 27 or 28. 2027 or 2028 is what it might be according to a lot of reports.
Oh. You don't say, do you?
So basically, so Star Wars Eclipse, which we've had our rants about that game so far. There are multiple issues with the game, one of which is the lead developer, and then another is that they released a full-on trailer with no release date in mind.
Yep. Like,
so they've come out, and the French, because they they have their different
Yeah.
So one of the CEOs, I don't want to butcher it, so I'm just gonna say the CEO. He came out and spoke with IG in Japan, and they discussed the gameplay and how it's gonna work. Right? They basically promised us that the gameplay is gonna be.
It occurs to me the mic is covering my face at the moment. I'll move back.
Yeah,
right
you're
here.
good.
I just wanted to see.
No, you're good.
I was like, I'll try to pronounce that name, and looked at it. I was like, no, I won't.
They basically promised, hey, it's gonna be a lot like most Quantic games that Quantic Dreams games that Heavy Rain, Beyond Two Souls, Detroit. It's gonna be very similar, except where the twist comes in is that we do have to make it an action game.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because while the other ones
they have QuickTime events.
They don't.
They're not proper action.
Yeah.
And so they said that's where the twist comes in.
They're
with
like,
this
we
game.
don't know how to do that.
Yeah. So with this game,
it'll be hard for us.
Yeah, this game.
It might take a bit longer.
Yeah, but that's not like why they're taking longer. It's just they're saying this is the new. For those of y'all that are wondering what type of game this is going to be, it's going to be similar to what we do, but we're also going to add more action adventure elements because that's what you're going to expect from a game like this.
Nah, man, I expect puzzles in.
There are Star Wars puzzle games, so don't.
Oh, have I summoned something from the ether that I don't know about?
No. Although the Jedi Knight games did have puzzle elements to them. They're mostly action adventure, but there's puzzle elements that in some of the titles, yes. Specifically the older ones. As they get further along, they kind of get less and less puzzly and more just straight up action adventure. But like the first game is it's a Doom-like Dark Forces, and it's actually the first 3D shooter because Doom, while it existed, was not a proper 3D shooter.
Yeah,
it was the first Doom was a 2D game that, they just used a lot of the visual kind of stunts to make it look like it was a 3D shooter, whereas Dark Forces was the first 3D shooter, and it actually had like all those elements to make it a 3D shooter. Has puzzles in it, somewhat frustrating, but then when you hit Dark Forces 2 Jedi Knight, which is the first of the proper Jedi Knight franchise, that's where it gets somewhat frustrating, and then Mysteries of the Sith, which I've yet to complete, because I was playing it for this channel for a while, but I took a break from playing games for the YouTube channel.
Caleb, are you versed in Doom lore?
Not entirely. We can discuss this.
We'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
Not on the podcast, because
it's a different show.
It's a different show and not relevant.
But yeah. As far as that goes, I honestly don't care at this point, because like, I want this game, but I don't. Does that make sense?
Yeah. This is a cool premise, but
there's just so many empty promises being part of this that I'm just like, if it comes out, cool, I'll play it.
Yeah, but if it doesn't, it's like, well, we weren't expecting too much.
Yeah, because you've already made it clear that you don't know when this is coming out, and you've got some people that I don't trust being involved. Although, surprisingly, we haven't heard a lot of David Cage when it comes to this game.
David Cage.
Yeah, David Cage. Yeah, David Cage has not been publicly involved with this game, surprisingly, but also not surprisingly.
Yeah.
Considering it's his company. Although he's not the CEO, he's just lead designer for a lot of the games. But, like, it's his company. Like, a lot of these games would not exist without. And I think he started Quantic Dream, so. Yeah.
Whatever.
So maybe they are trying to push him away. They're like, we don't want you involved because you'll bring too much bad press. But
listen, boss, I need you to just
not be here.
Say anything.
Yeah.
You'll get your money probably.
Yeah.
But just be quiet.
So, let's go ahead and jump into the main topic today, because like I said, there wasn't a lot of news.
Yeah.
I am curious now, though. Yeah, it doesn't on Wikipedia. It doesn't show David Cage is involved in the game, but he might be. Anyways, sorry, my curiosity got the best of me on that one. Yeah. So main topic: High Republic out of the shadows.
Republic, we're back in it.
We are back for now, because I think
motherfucking Nihil.
Yeah.
Gotta go.
Yep.
Thought the Dragon Gear were bad. It's just the start of a much bigger and much more convoluted problem.
And yep, we will be in the High Republic for the foreseeable future.
Oh, will we now?
Yeah, I'm looking at the schedule. All right, so to start off this book, we jump to Sylvester Yarrow.
Yes.
Owner of cargo hauler Switchback.
Yep.
And they are stressed out over a run of bad luck.
Mm-hmm.
Ever since her mother Chansey's death at the hands of Nihil pirates, Syl has been losing money faster than she can make it.
Yep.
The dissolution of the Bind Guild didn't help matters,
although... No, it's a good thing that it happened, but also it left a lot of people out of work.
Yeah, like it helps her co-pilot Nito Jana Jana, who was part of the indentured servitude.
Yep.
But it also was like, well, now we have nobody. We don't have a big company paying us to do these runs. Now we work for ourselves.
Yeah.
So we're relying on ourselves to get these jobs.
Like I said earlier, you're free but poor now.
Yeah. So the Switchback abruptly jolts out of hyperspace in the middle of the empty Beringe sector.
Is that how it's pronounced?
I think so. Beringe. I can't remember.
Good.
Leaving Syl, Nito, and the ancient droid M227 puzzled, assuming it's a glitch.
They're like, this could have happened naturally.
However, the sudden appearance of pirate starships leaves Syl reminded of her mother's death, and Nito has to persuade her to get into the escape pod by pointing out that if she dies, she can't warn anyone about the new tactic the Nihil appear to have come up with.
Which is just yanking
Ships out of hyperspace. Yep. So basically, gravity wells.
Yeah.
Because that exists in Star Wars. So that's essentially what they're doing. They're gravity welling. Before gravity wells are really a thing. Because the Empire is the one that really implements them. Because remember, we talked about that with Princess and the Scoundrel. Because what's his name mentions that he helped. Keelab mentions that he helped invented gravity wells. He's like, yeah, I was a part of that. And Han's like, what the fuck?
It's like, do you have any idea how many of my friends you killed?
Yeah. Where was I? Oh, yeah. So, meanwhile, Vernestra Rowe is meditating in a garden on the Starlight Beacon when her Padawan, Imri Canteros, interrupts her to show off his recently completed new lightsaber.
Yeah. Because I think
he broke it in.
his other one.
Yeah, he broke it. He also tells her there's a comm droid waiting for her outside. The droid, however, is glitching, and Imri asks to be excused because the number of people around is stressing his powerful empathic abilities.
Yeah.
Because Imri is an empath.
Yeah.
But not like that fake YouTuber empath, like actual empath.
It's, like, actually really bad for him.
Yeah. Because he's yet to learn how to control it, and it's something that, in fact, Vernestra doesn't know about yet.
Yeah. It's also growing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's getting stronger. And I'm like, this is one of those abilities where I'm like, initially, maybe it would seem like a good idea, but over time, it's like, no, why would you fucking want this?
Yeah. So while, where was I? Oh yeah, Vernestra. So while she's outside waiting by herself, she encounters Padawan Reith Silas, who has recently arrived on the space station with his master Comac Vitus. Reith helps fix the droid, telling her he'll see her later.
He just smacks the shit out of it.
Hey, it works.
Who knew Reith was an expert in percussive maintenance?
He's a real Fonz.
You know, this is kind of important as well.
Mm-hmm.
They are back.
Oh yeah, we'll get to that. Because let's talk about the call, and we'll definitely talk about why they're back when we get there. Vernestra finds herself on a call with her old master Stellan Geos, who says he wants her to report to Coruscant as a Galactic Republic senator wants her help dealing with a situation in the Beringe sector.
Yep.
Also, this is before Stellan becomes real crispy.
Why'd you have to phrase it like that?
Reith has had an adventurous year since becoming Comac Vitus' Padawan, and after they have finished unloading their ship, Comac dismisses him as he can go eat while Comac goes to see Marshal Avar Kriss. In the cafeteria, Reith sits with Vernestra and Imri, learning about the Padawan's recent discovery of powerful empathic abilities he's having a hard time controlling when he uses them on Reith. Coming to think about romantic relationships after the two leave, Reith is reminded of Nan, mainly because, as we discuss anytime Reith is on the show, Reith has a thing where he falls for literally every woman he comes across.
Reith, we get it, man.
We get it. You're 17. You're figuring yourself out. Yeah, we get it. Actually, I think he is 17 by this point because he's 16 and Into the Dark, but it's been about a year now. Yeah. And so, But yeah, he starts thinking of Nan again.
He's like, that didn't work out so well.
Yeah, just to remind y'all, that's the Nihil he met on the Amaxine space station back in Into the Dark.
Yep.
Before deciding he doesn't want to think about her and throwing himself into his food. That's kind of depressing. He's stress eating. The man is stress eating. Meanwhile, on board the Gaze Electric, Nan watches a meeting between Marcion Rowe and the Tempest Runners that she is not strictly supposed to be attending. She has spent the past year...
But no one kicked her out.
Yeah.
So
well, she's also been spending the past year as one of the Eye of the Nihil's trusted spies, so this is why she's allowed. During the meeting, Rowe executes an Ithorian Tempest Runner for losing 20 ships and all of his storm in a Republic ambush. Rowe throws an explosive charge on his helmet, which kills the Ithorian and those around him. Rowe also questions Lorna D about the progress of her Gravity's Heart weapon, which is capable of disrupting hyperspace. Lorna convinces a reluctant Rowe to lend his savant, Mari Santeca, to the project. Rowe agrees and dispatches Nan to accompany his savant to the Gravity's Heart, tasking her with safeguarding the prize with her life. Also,
yes,
it's not in this script, but the other thing I remember from this scene is that Nan runs into our other favorite Nihil, Crix.
Oh yeah, and she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna kill this little fucker."
Which
maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow,
but hopefully
but someday.
God, Crix versus Nan is a fight I want so badly.
That,
because you know Crix will lose.
I know. I'm like, I remember,
and we've discussed this, and we discussed this when we talk about High Republic Adventures volumes 1 and 2. No, it was actually during the book. It was a book that he appeared in. Midnight Horizon. He appeared in Midnight Horizon. It was during that I was like, okay, he's out of chances in my opinion. Like, we've given him so many opportunities to turn. Like, High Republic Adventures 1 and 2 give him so many chances, and he's like, nah, I'm mad. And then Midnight Horizon, he's like, but I love you. And it's like, no, you don't, you jackass.
Like, initially I was like, okay, Crix, I get it. But now I'm like, I'm fucking out of sympathy for you.
Yeah, you've lost any chances. But yeah, so after unsuccessfully attempting to warn the Republic authorities about the hyperspace anomaly in the Beringe sector, Syl meets a Gygorian at a Coruscant tavern who introduces her to Xylan Graf, a shipping magnate who seeks her help in investigating the disappearance of one of his ships, the Belt Runner, which disappeared in the Beringe sector while transporting a shipment of coaxium.
Yep.
Hello, Solo, a Star Wars story.
Like,
coaxium's become very important ever since Solo came out.
Yeah.
Graf explains that he has lost 4 ships within the week. Since Syl has survived a similar hyperspace anomaly, he hopes that she can shed light on the phenomenon. Syl agrees to help in return for a meal. Back on Starlight Beacon, Emery confides in his master Vernestra about his ability to use the Force to calm people's emotions and ease their pain while on Valo. Because we didn't talk about this earlier. The reason that it got brought up at the lunch table with Vern, Emery, and Reeth is because he accidentally used it on Reeth, which got Vern mad.
Reeth knows what it is.
Yeah.
Reeth isn't like...
Reeth wasn't upset about it. He was like, okay.
He's like, oh, that's something my master used to use.
And also, it's not a bad thing to kind of help. It's de-escalating.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
All right, I just wanted to chime in. Hi, I'm the voice of the Force. You brought up something interesting that I want to talk about.
Okay.
Coaxium.
Yes.
I think coaxium is great. Its invention is really important in the Star Wars canon because do you know before coaxium what's the biggest commodity that's kind of spoke about in the Star Wars universe?
Not off the top of my head.
Spice.
Oh yeah, spice.
So you change the narrative from an illicit substance that makes a lot of credits across the galaxy to something that's something tangible and useful and a fuel that's not illicit.
Yep.
I just find that fascinating.
And it's kind of a way to keep the galaxy kind of united, and because that's a thing that everybody wants. Whereas spice, not everybody wants
Wants
that.
it.
Right, and it's something like as we learned in Solo, while it's Imperial controlled, it's also refined at all these other places. So,
Yep.
and mined at other places. I mean, the Pikes are doing both. They're doing spice and coaxium.
Yep.
Go Pikes.
Get that bag.
Oh boy.
But yeah, so there's a little coaxium facts. But yeah, so Emery is confiding.
Faxwaxium.
Yeah. So Emery's confiding about his empath abilities. Once again, not that fake YouTuber empath, but actual empath. He, because Vern reassures her Padawan that his empathic abilities are not a dark side manifestation, and that the Jedi Order can make use of Jedi like him, which is also Vern also convincing herself, because she still has not told her master about her light whip.
Yeah. No.
She still hasn't been like, hey, Stellan, I built this light whip, which a lot of people consider a dark side weapon, but I'm a Jedi and I felt the Force call upon me to build this.
Mm.
So, she's also convincing herself.
Vern has a slightly different problem.
Yeah, the other big problem is that she's also dealing with her age compared to being where she's at.
Yeah.
Because she is Wreath's age, 17, and she's already a knight.
Yeah.
Whereas Wreath is still a Padawan. And not only is she a knight already, she has an apprentice. So, having that lunch with Wreath was like catching up with your, it's hard to kind of relate that. I guess it's like if you ran into a classmate from high school, but you graduated early, and your classmate is still in high school.
Yeah.
Like, they're in their senior year, but you're already, on your second year of college.
Mm-hmm. So it produces this very weird social situation.
Yeah, where it's like, I'm technically higher ranked. Like, in the case of the Jedi, it's like, I'm technically a higher rank than you, but we're still, friends because we grew up with each other.
Yeah.
It in a way, it's kind of the same friendship we see with Stellan, Elzar, and Avar.
Yeah.
Because Stellan is on the council, Avar's in charge of Starlight Beacon, and Elzar's kind of just there.
Yeah. They're like, what's Elzar doing? We don't know. Elzar does what he wants, which is why he's not on the council or a master yet.
In fact, he only just got knighted at the end of the first book. Because he's friends with people in high places, and he actually made himself of use this one time. Because
He gotta come for his neck like that.
I love Elzar, but I'm saying this is the perspective of the council and stuff, because they'd see Elzar is essentially the black sheep of the trio of the older generation of Jedi in this series.
Yeah.
Because Stellan and Avar are the ideals, and then Elzar is the Jedi that the council would be like, don't be like Elzar. Am I wrong?
You're not.
Elzar is that uncle that your family he's because you watched Encanto recently. He's Bruno.
Mm.
But,
The thing is, he's
but he's also he's not a bad Jedi. But he also makes a lot of terrible mistakes.
yeah.
But he also tries, unlike Anakin, to reform from these mistakes, which is what makes Elzar more.
Was it Elzar keeps trying? He doesn't necessarily succeed, but
No.
he keeps trying.
Sure, he blew up a ship in Rising Storm, but he then was like, "Hey, I have a problem. I used dark side energy there. Can somebody
Can I
help
get
me?"
some help?
Yeah, he actually asks for help, which is a rarity in the Star Wars universe for a Jedi that's falling to the dark side to be like, "Hey, I need some help."
And not beat around the bush about it.
Yeah, he's like, "Hey, I just messed up there."
Yeah.
Okay, Elzar's not even in this
Not
part of the
in
book.
story.
Yeah.
This isn't necessarily relevant to the story, but I do feel like it's a little bit important.
Yeah.
What Wreath and Comac have been doing in the year between.
Yeah, because we haven't gotten to it, so
is
go ahead.
essentially they've been going to this world, Genisha
Mm.
and collecting like artifacts and relics from different planets, like in case they are like in danger or get destroyed. And they're like, okay, we're gonna get them. We're gonna take them back with us to Coruscant to the Jedi Temple. And we're gonna keep them there until all this Nihil business and everything calms down.
Well, that's what happens when you have two, like, librarian buddies that that are Jedi Knights on adventures. They're like, hey, we like studying stuff, so let's go get stuff that we can study.
Like, throughout this entire year, I have been shot at more times than I can count.
Reith has come very far, and he I think honestly he's the character that it's because I forget who asked me. Somebody asked who my favorite High Republic character was. I think it was you.
It was Tuesday. I was like,
and I said Reith, and I said it's because he's relatable because of the whole like falls for literally everybody that he runs into.
Yeah.
That was a joke answer, but the real answer is he's got the. I think he has the most like the best the most impactful journey from start to finish of Phase 1. Since we've already talked about Midnight Horizon, it's not a spoiler to go, hey, he was knighted at the end of Midnight Horizon. Yeah. So he starts his journey as a Padawan whose master just died after saying, hey, we're going to go on assignment for the first time. And you've never left Coruscant.
Yeah.
And Reith goes from this character that's like, I don't want to leave Coruscant because I like my books, to a character that starts to accept, like, we're at the part where he's starting to accept that he needs to go on adventures.
On his first adventure, his not brother
appears to die.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dez appears to die, which immediately, because Dez is like it's a Rel Avaros Qui-Gon situation. It's the Padawan before him situation. So it's like an older brother.
Yeah.
And so to him, Dez dies, and then he does save Dez later, but that still puts him through a lot.
After having like found his brother drugged and turned not necessarily evil,
but brainwashed.
And having to fight him.
Yeah.
After they've done like had the discussion of sometimes Jedi have to cut a motherfucker.
Yeah. And then Dez goes on, the Baresh vow, which means he's gone from the Jedi Order from now, which we've both talked about how we want to figure out what's going on with Dez.
Yeah.
But Reith goes to that to kind of, he's basically Bilbo. He's Bilbo Baggins. He doesn't want to go on an adventure, gets forced into this adventure, and then eventually is like, you know what? I'm glad I went on that adventure. We aren't at that point yet. It's after Midnight Horizon. It's during Midnight Horizon that he gets to that point, and so I kind of like that arc for him. And whereas everybody else, I feel like is mostly the same character they were at the start of the High Republic Phase 1, with the exception of maybe Vernestra, Emery. It's mostly the Padawans who change. The adults don't change; they die.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not true. Elzar and Avar don't die, but
I don't know, like, because we don't know. Avar is not, in my opinion, in a good place at the end of.
No, so
Avar's had like a shitty work month.
If you've only read the 3 adult novels, from that perspective, Avar's great.
Yeah.
Right? Like Avar, like her biggest problem is that Elzar died, or not Elzar died. That Stellan died, because it's like, oh, that was my friend, and while we were in the middle of a fight, I still cared for him. That's her biggest issue if you're just going from the novel perspective. But then when you read the comics, you realize, oh shit, Avar just went through the same stuff that Elzar went through, but neither of them are telling each other that.
Yeah.
Except Elzar actually did kill people. Avar almost killed people.
Yeah. Avar only...
She got close. She got real close.
She's lucky Keeve was there.
Yeah, Keeve was like, nah, this is not how we do things. You literally took my master off of the assignment because he was doing things the wrong way. You can't be now doing things the wrong way.
God.
And then, so like, meanwhile, Stellan murdered 2 people, which is why Starlight Beacon fell.
Elzar, not Stellan.
Oh, sorry, Elzar. Elzar murdered 2 people, which is why Starlight Beacon fell and Stellan is dead.
I feel like the fall of Starlight Beacon's gonna be the New Republic fair whenever.
Oh, when things get out, yeah.
It's like what happened. A bunch of really bad shit.
But let's get
went down.
let's get back to this book. So later. Oh yeah, so we talked about the light whip, which comes up immediately after her talk with Emery, because Vern goes to see Avar to discuss her light whip. Avar reassures her that her light whip is effective.
Basically, don't worry, it's fine.
She's like, hey,
if it helps you do your job better.
Yeah. It's about the carrier of the tool, not the tool itself. It's like, are you a good person? Yes. Are you using it for good? Yes. Then it's fine. Later, Emery also asked Vernestra about a dispute between Master Stellan and Master Avar, which we were just talking about. Vern responds that the dispute is between the two masters and none of their business, which we know what the dispute is about. Avar wants to go off and hunt for the Nihil, while Stellan is like, no, you got to stay at Starlight Beacon, because that's where you're posted. That's where the council put you, and that's where you're supposed to stay until we say otherwise. Having trouble sleeping, Reith has a lightsaber practice with Vernestra. Yeah. Vern gets the upper hand due to Reith's defensive style of fighting.
Like, you just have to hit back and you'd win.
Yeah, it's like sometimes you gotta push.
Like, this is one of the things that's brought up way back in the beginning of Reith's journey.
Yeah, we've had some other books where they talk about that he's a defensive fighter and not.
Yeah, they're actually like, no, Reith is actually pretty good at it in terms of, like, execution and everything.
Well, yeah, because he immediately takes that guy's hand off.
Yeah. And it's once again because Dez was like, hey, I like this. I want to share this with you.
Yeah.
Because that's what they did when they hung out.
Yeah. Dez was like, I'm your big brother, so I'm going to teach you how to fight, and because I'm the fighter and you're the smart one, so... Yeah. But yeah, Reith confides that Master Comac has been sending them on more dangerous missions since the Nihil attack on the Republic Fair of Valo. The following morning, Vernestra goes to obtain a ship for her and her Padawan Emery's upcoming trip to Coruscant. However, Quartermaster Master Nubaran refuses to loan her a ship since Vern wrecked her junk hauler during the events on Valo, which this is a continuing joke of Vern cannot fly a ship.
She's very good at crashing them,
though. To the point that they're like, no, you can't have any more ships.
Like, they won't give her any more.
Fortunately for Vern and Emery, Reith invites them to travel with him and his Master Comac to Coruscant. On Coruscant, Zyla and Graf hosts Syl at a luxurious hotel. While enjoying her plush quarters, Syl is attacked by a Mon Calamari assassin. She fights back and drives the assassin away. During the incident, her hotel room's fish tank is damaged. Following the assassination attempt, Graf decides to move Syl off-world since someone is aware of the critical information she holds.
Yep.
Meanwhile, Nan learns that the Oracle is an elderly, Force-sensitive human woman named Mari Santeca.
Yeah.
We love our Santecas, but we also hate them.
What was it I said before we went?
You said if it's a Santeca, a Staros, or a Graf.
A tag or a Graf.
Or a tag, yeah. That you're keeping an eye out on them because they're always trouble.
There's always some shady bullshit going on.
Well, that's because, like, 3 out of the 4 of those names are all business people. They all own big corporations. The only one that doesn't is Staros, but she's also in the High Republic. We're dealing with a senator, so also corrupt.
Yeah.
Mari has the ability to locate paths, unconventional hyperspace routes. The Nihil have kept her alive beyond the natural human lifespan inside a medical capsule. I think she's like she's a few hundred years old at this point.
She's
I have a feeling
she's got some I have no mouth and I must scream type stuff going on.
This is a character that I'm excited about. I'm excited about Mari because since Phase 2 is going backwards, we're going to get Mari. Because they've already said we're getting Mari.
Oh.
Yeah, they said we're getting younger Mari, so I'm interested to see her in her prime with the Santeca family. Nan views her assignment as an opportunity to advance up the ranks of the Nihil. During the voyage, Rose Doctor reports that the puzzle box is missing, while the Jedi are traveling to Coruscant on the former Hutt hauler Fronessa. Master Comac explains to Vernestra that they have been summoned to Coruscant to testify about the atrocities they witnessed on Janisha before a Galactic Senate Committee, consisting of several prominent senators and the Jedi High Council. The two Jedi also discuss concerns about the Jedi being pressed into the Republic service, because this is during a time when the Jedi, there is separation between church and state. The Jedi are separate from the Republic. They work with the Republic, but they are not part of the Republic, which is a big difference between this era and the prequel era. The two Jedi, let's see, during the hyperspace journey, Vern experiences a force vision of a group of Nihil attacking an Ugnaught family for stealing a puzzle box. Vernestra relates her vision to the Jedi, who also receive a distress call from the Jedi Temple on Taika, who have reported a recent Nihil incursion. Upon landing on Taika, Vernestra recognizes the town as the desert location she had seen in her vision. The local Jedi Marshal, Master Upran Quinn, explains that the Nihil have taken hostages at the town's lodging house, demanding the return of something that was stolen from them. Vernestra and Reith storm the lodging house and discover that the Nihil have murdered the Ugnaught hostages, meaning they're too late.
Mm-hmm.
More than likely, the vision was a concurrent vision, because sometimes visions are as they're happening.
This is not necessarily a new thing for Vernestra either.
Correct. We've had visions with her. I think the first book with her introduces that she has visions in hyperspace. Is usually when she has them. Vernestra,
Like she had them when she was little as well.
Yeah. So the Nihil are escaping on speeder bikes with the puzzle box, which Vernestra resolves to retrieve. Vernestra finds an unlikely ally in the form of Jordana Sparkburn, the Santeca's clan's deputy on Taika. Working together, the two pursue the fleeing Nihil via speeder bike. They overpower and subdue the fugitives. Vern examines the Nihil's puzzle box, but is unsure about its purpose. Meanwhile, the other Jedi have subdued the other Nihil marauders, taking one as prisoner. The Nihil that Reith subdues escapes and attempts to attack his captors, but is killed by a Volca, a predator that can become invisible. Master Comac agrees to give Jordana a ride to Coruscant so that she can seek help from the Santeca clan. While investigating the lodging house, the Jedi discover a hologram recording of Nan, a Nihil girl whom Reith had encountered earlier. Reith's like, God damn it. My ex is going around, but not my ex because I'm a Jedi, is going around murdering more people. Great.
Jordana has something to know about her.
Yeah.
She has been out here on the frontier without basically any assistance from anybody, fighting Nihil for a year straight.
Which is part of why she's, But
she's at that, like, if I see one, I'll kill him.
Yeah. Which Master Comac decides that the Jedi should bring the puzzle box to the temple on Coruscant in order to investigate why the Nihil are interested in it.
Yeah.
Zylan Graff later takes Syl to his opulent residence where he shows her his library.
Attempt number 1.
Yeah.
I think there's like 3 or 4 more throughout this book.
Yeah, so he brings her to his laboratory on hyperspace research. He theorizes that Syl's purportedly dead mother Chansey Yarrow is helping the Nihil to attack using uncharted hyperspace routes. He is correct. Syl initially does not believe that her mother is still alive. The two are then joined by the Gungan professor, Thaddeus Wolk, an expert on theoretical hyperspace physics. That's right, a Gungan is a physicist. He supports Graff's theory that Chansey faked her death in order to continue her research into hyperspace physics. Wolk explains that Chansey was a former student whom he taught at the Academy of Charita, where he led the hyperspace theory and philosophy department. So not only is he a physicist, he's also a professor, like straight up professor.
Yeah.
At like an accredited academy. Chansey had proposed a theory about using artificial gravity wells to pull ships out of hyperspace at will. So yes, Chansey is the reason that gravity wells start to become a thing.
Yep.
Fuck you, Chansey. Because the Empire loves their gravity wells. Since her mother's research challenged the status quo within her academic field, they dismissed her as insane. Still,
Not only that, she applied for different grants for different research.
Oh yeah, still determined to continue her research, Chansey pretended to change her research topic in order to continue her research on gravity wells.
But she lied on the papers, essentially.
Yeah, and anytime that her misconduct was discovered, when her misconduct was discovered, she was expelled from the university.
Yeah.
So Chansey subsequently left the Academy of Karita to continue her own research into gravity wells. Xylan believes that Chansey built the gravity well projector in the Begin sector. Wolk believes that Chansey is indeed alive and working for the Nihil. He vows to stop her. After landing on Coruscant, Emery experiences a psychic episode through the Force. After Emery recovers, Vernestra counsels him to read the philosophies of the Jedi Samara the Blue, who came up with a series of meditations to help.
Vernestra does not do that. Is Reith who's like, here, Reith points it out to him.
Oh. For some reason in my notes I put Vernestra.
However, she does encourage him to go along and actually check
Yeah.
that out with Reith.
To help the Genetian cope with violent emotional swings.
Because apparently that's a thing that Genetian Jedis have.
Yeah. Similar to how our Trandoshan Jedi buddy went through some stuff as well with his with his genetics.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, empathic abilities are stronger with people from Genetia.
Which is why Emery is so powerful.
Yeah. It doesn't help that Genetia is currently in a civil war at the moment.
Yeah, so it's like we can't go to them and learn firsthand,
Yeah.
but we have the secondhand material. Vernestra then travels to the Jedi Temple to meet with her former master, Stellan Gios. While traveling through a hallway, she briefly meets Master Yaddle, who counsels her not to reject her instinct before directing her to Stellan's office. Yeah, we got some Yaddle. We don't know if you could hear that, but we have a con going on, and so there's a lot more business in the arcade than usual, and somebody just went, "Fuck you."
Really excited about Yaddle. So when you saw that trailer, you're like, Yaddle!
Yeah. Well, we still have not seen. So the only long-lived Jedi we have not seen in the High Republic yet is Plo Koon. Yeah, his mask is apparently floating around because it's in the trailer for Andor. Yeah. Yeah. Well, he probably is. He got shot out of the sky. Yeah. So, after talking to Yaddle, she goes to Stellan's office. Stellan briefs Vernestra that the Republican Jedi have not yet decided on an appropriate response to the Nihil threat. He assigns Vernestra and Emery with accompanying Xylan Graf on a mission to the Berinch sector to investigate whether the Nihil are causing the hyperspace anomalies by testing an experimental technology.
We should actually explain a little bit about
the graphs? Or about...
the graphs, the Berinch sector, and a bunch of other stuff in
well,
regards to that.
I think there's stuff that will come up, but, like, the graphs are working on something in the Berinch sector that they shouldn't be, but that's because they're the graphs.
You're close.
Yeah.
They want to.
Oh, yeah, they want to.
The problem
Because they're trying to, yeah.
The problem is, because ships keep being pulled out of hyperspace...
Yeah, we can't do our job.
We aren't allowed to do that, and we also don't have, essentially, the lease for that area.
Yeah, is that leased... I'm trying to remember, is that leased by the Santecas at the moment?
No. So, what is going on with the
Because I know
sector?
the Graphs are trying to get away from the Santecas so they can do their business privately.
So, essentially, the Santecas had the lease, right?
Yep.
It expired. Now, the Republic wants that area of space, like the scientists and academics want it for academic purposes. The Van Graffs want it for weapons testing, and the reason why is nothing lives in that area,
So it's
and nothing lives in that area.
Oh, so yeah, so it's basically
That is the reason.
so it's basically it's
Santecas had the lease, but now it's up in the
I'm
air.
trying to use the real world equivalent of like us using nuclear testing sites. Okay. Yeah, no, you're good. But yeah, it's basically like nuclear testing sites where they try to do it in like unpopulated areas. Usually,
Most of the time.
if they're doing it correctly. But Stellan believes that Vern's vision could be the precursor to the rare Jedi ability to navigate through hyperspace via the Force, something that is brought up in the Thrawn novels that we haven't read together yet. They call it the just call it skywalking.
Mm.
Yes, that's
It's been a while since I've heard that term.
yeah.
Um,
Despite her misgivings, Vern reluctantly accepts the mission out of her dutiful obligation to the Jedi Order. Vern also shows Master Stellan the strange cube that she recovered from the Nihil. Stellan recognizes the object as a puzzle cube, which can be unlocked by entering a phrase. While studying the glyphs, he recognizes an old hyperspace prospector symbol and suggests that the Gungan Professor Wolk will be able to help decipher the cube's mysteries. Still struggles to come to terms with the revelation that her mother Chansey is alive. After having breakfast, she meets with Xylan, who tells her about the Graf family's plan to designate the Brinch sector for hyperspace experiments. Xylan wants Syl to testify against Professor Wolf's theory, Professor Wolf's theory that the Nihil are testing hyperspace disrupting technology in that sector.
Yeah.
In return, he offers to help her settle her debts. Despite her ethical discomfort, Syl agrees to Xylan's plan due to her poor financial situation. So the rich taking advantage of the poor.
Yep.
At Gravity's well, Nan executes a Weequay Nihil Shrike, who took part in the Taika raid for failing to recover the puzzle box. Nan is chastised by Chansey Yara for killing one of her subordinates. Chansey explains that the Oracle is the missing Mari Santeca, whom the Nihil had kidnapped 100 years ago. Mari had the rare ability to sell all of the possible routes through hyperspace, time, and location phase. Not trusting Marchion Ro and his agents, Chansey has Nan confined to a cell. Xylan and Syl meet with Senator Jira Staros of Hosnian Prime, whom Graf attempts to lobby into opening the Brinch sector into a testing ground for hyperspace research.
Yeah.
And thus our hate for Senator Jira Staros immenses even more. And technically, this is the start of our hate of her.
Yeah.
If we're going chronologically.
Like, Staros family is a very mixed bag.
Yeah, because we got two decent Staros family members, and then we got
have one decent Staros family member.
no. We have one good, one decent, and then Jira.
Yeah.
Her daughter's the good, and Sana's the decent. Kasana's not a bad person at heart.
I don't know. I feel like there's...
Sana definitely wants money, but I don't think Sana's a bad person.
True.
Definitely has more morals than Afra.
Yeah.
Which isn't... Well, no, I shouldn't say that isn't saying much, because Afra does have morals as well. They're just twisted.
Oh, I see what's happening. I have confused. Sana is not Afra. I've got two different characters confused with each other. Sorry, Afra is the one I don't have any sympathy for. Sana's the one who's like, don't ask questions, just fucking shoot him.
Yeah. Xylan...
I'm sorry,
yeah,
Sana.
See?
That's my fault.
Yeah, Afra is her last...
I don't care for your...
Associate? /X.
Yeah. Y'all are still better than the active serial killer.
Yeah. Anyway, so Xylan claims that Syl can testify that Chansey is dead, and that the Nihil are not responsible for the hyperspace disturbances there. Xylan offers to bring Syl and Professor Wolk along for the exploratory mission. Playing politics, Jira promises to grant Xylan's request if he allows 2 Jedi representatives to come along. These Jedi representatives turn out to be the Jedi Knight Vernestra Ro and her Padawan Imri Canteros. Xylan is outraged that Jedi adolescents will be sent to monitor the mission, but reluctantly accepts Senator Staros' conditions.
Yeah.
Silvestri is initially hostile towards Venestra since she reminds her of a past trauma. Sil tells Vern that Senator Staros assigned her and Emery to the mission in order to provoke Xylan. Sil also educates Vern about the intricacies of the Coruscanti politics. A senatorial staff named Kyrie escorts Sil, Vern, and Emery to a waiting speeder that shuttles them to the building where Professor Wilkes' office is located. Outside the building, Vern briefly chats with Jordana, who is heading to the Santeca corporate office. Vernestra and Emery take a lift to the floor where Professor Wilkes' office is located. Before they can find Wilkes' office, the two are caught in a bomb attack. Meanwhile, Sil talks with her ex-girlfriend Jordana. Jordana regrets not leaving with her when she asks. Sil heads off to rejoin the two Jedi adolescents, but Jordana insists on following. So things just got spicy. Because we find out that in this section that Jordana and Sil are exes. The two soon hear the sound of gunfire. Meanwhile, Vern uses the Force to deflect the debris from her and Emery. The two soon encounter the terrified Professor Woke, who tells them that he is endangered. The Gungan professor is soon hit in the chest by a blaster bolt. Vern pursues a Twi'lek assassin and uses her light whip to deflect the blaster bolts, knocking him out. Vern gives an account of the assassination attempt to a Bolasar security...
very successful assassination attempt.
Yeah, to a Bolasar security officer named Ashtri Mark. Emery has been injured by debris during the bombing. After reuniting with Jordana and Sil, they learn that Professor Sil tells Vern that Professor Woke had been the subject of an assassination attempt the previous day. She tells Vern that she believes that Xylan Graf was behind the assassination of Professor Woke. Emery agrees that Graf is hiding something. Sil also offers another theory that Graf may be the next target of the assassinations. Following Woke's assassination, Senator Jiro Staros convinces Master Comac and his Padawan Wreath to accompany Vernestra, Emery, Xylan, Graf, and Sil on their expedition to the Burinj sector. There seems to be a connecting thread here. I wonder who it is.
The funny thing is, Silvestri is like, there are 4 of them now.
Yeah. She is Jiro is concerned that the Nihil are working on a destructive weapon in the Burinj sector, and that Graf is not being forthcoming. Sil meets in a diner with Vernestra, Emery, Jordana, her Volca Remy. Sil reflects on her mother Chansey, leaving her in the care of the Ugnaught mechanic Klana and Roy, intending for them to teach her how to repair a hyperdrive. Sil recalls this was the last time that she saw her mother. Sil invites Jordana to travel the galaxy together with her. However, Jordana is training to be a deputy for the Santeca clan and plans to return to Taika. While discussing the recent assassination of Professor Woke, they are joined by Xylan and his entourage. Xylan speculates that the Gungan academic was assassinated to throw suspicion on the Graf family. He also reminds Sil of her promise to testify before the Senate committee. Vern also shows Xylan the puzzle box, which she recovered on Taika. Xylan believes that his grandmother, who lived at the Graf family compound near Neryl's moon, can help decipher the glyphs. He convinces the 4 to accompany him to the Graf family compound while en route to the Burinj sector. Meanwhile, Nan spends 2 days in captivity aboard the Gravity's Heart, which she resents. By contrast, Dr. Utterson regards his imprisonment as a holiday.
Yeah, he's like, Nan is like, they essentially are like right across the hall from each other. So Nan is getting consistently pissed off because she wants to go out and do stuff.
Well, she's also trying to move up the ladder, and this is not helping.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Dr. Utterson, apart from occasionally doing like necessary stuff to keep Marie Santeca alive, is like, I wonder what romance holo I should watch today, or adventure in.
Yeah.
It's like, I want out of here.
Later, they travel with Chansey Yarrow and several Nihil aboard the Whisper Kill to an unknown location in the Hennesian sector. Back on Coruscant, Xylan invites Sil, Vernestra, Emery, and Jordana to his luxurious tower in the upper levels of the planet. They are joined by Master Comac and Padawan Wreath. While meeting in the dining room, they discuss the family feud between the Grafs and the Santecas over control of the Burinj sector, and the late Professor Woke's theory about a Nihil weapon in that sector. Xylan claims that the Nihil are not building weapons in the Burinj sector, but Jordana and Comac are skeptical and they believe that an investigation is warranted.
Yeah.
Xylan convinces Master Comac to let the group travel with him to Norel's moon so that they can travel to the Beringe sector on his experimental starship, Vengeful Goddess. During the journey aboard Xylan's ship, Resplendent Pearl, Syl and Jordana spend time together, talking about Chansey, Xylan, the Jedi, and the Nihil. Jordana explains that the Nihil attract outcasts and losers by giving them a home and misleading them into believing that violence is a tool they can use. While checking the navicomputer, Syl realizes that Xylan's ship is bound for Hayleap in the Dalnan sector. That's not where we said we were going. She realizes that Xylan has been deceiving them and rushes to warn the Jedi. Meanwhile, Vernestra speaks with Master Comac, who reassures her that Master Stellan did not send him and Reith because the Order underestimated her and Emery's ability to handle Xylan. Comac believes that Senator Saros was not being honest about her request for assistance and suspects that some politics is at play between the San Tekkas and Grafs. You are correct. Comac also explains that being a Jedi Knight also requires maturity and does not depend solely on one's force powers. While resting, Vernestra hears a mysterious telepathic voice through the Force telling her that the way is clear and that she must come.
So Comac also explains, he's like, I think they should have waited just a little bit longer before promoting you, essentially.
Yeah, like
you're good. You're very good at what you do, Vernestra.
But you're not quite at the maturity level that I think you should be.
Before you were given this.
Being knighted's one thing, but then also having an apprentice is the other. He doesn't doubt that she should have been knighted. It's more of you shouldn't already have a Padawan yet. You are going too fast for your age.
Yeah. She's on that advanced career track.
Yeah. Vern is woken up by a concerned Emery, who warns about the dangers of deep meditation. Vern admits that she can't control her deep meditation powers. Shortly later, they are joined by Silvestri, who warns them that Xylan is taking them towards the Dalnan sector. Syl warns the Jedi that Xylan cannot be trusted. Vern agrees with Syl, but decides that they should also speak with Master Comac about this matter. Elsewhere, Nan accompanies Chansey Yara for a meeting with Catriona Graf at the Graf family compound, Everbloom. The matriarch has agreed to let the Nihil set up an ambush for the Jedi at her opulent retreat.
Yeah.
Following the meeting, Chansey questions Nan about her loyalty to Marchion Ro. Nan professes her loyalty, stating that Ro has assigned her to look after the Oracle. Chansey, however, is aware that Nan has secretly sent a message to San Tekka Conglomerate Office about Mari San Tekka being held captive on the Gravity's Heart. Her plan was to use the San Tekka clan attack as a means of escaping her captivity at the hands of Chansey. Chansey responds that she had intercepted the message before it could be sent out.
Basically, another instance of nice try, kid.
Yeah. Admiring Nan's resourcefulness, Chansey offers her...
There's a lot of nice tries, kid.
Yeah. Well, and also especially between Chansey and Nan.
Yeah.
Because, this is the first time Chansey and Nan are working together. And this creates the relationship that we see later on in Fallen Star. Because, once again, this is... Like I said earlier, this is a book where... I think I only said this off camera. I haven't said it on camera yet. This is a book that this is a very forgettable book to me. There's a lot of important stuff in this book, and it's not a bad book. I just forget everything, half of what happens in it as soon as I put it down. Whereas the other books are more memorable to me. I can go, this is what happened in this book. This is what happened in this book. Out of the Shadows, I'm like, I know there's Grafs and San Tekkas and Chansey and...
This book has a lot going on in not as many pages.
Yeah.
So
this book could have been 2 books.
Yeah. So in some regards it does feel a bit rushed. But overall it's still pretty good.
Yeah. And I'll give my final thoughts when we get there, but yeah. Let's see. So Chansey offers Nan a place as her spy. Back aboard the Resplendent Pearl, Silvestri confronts Xylan about their trip to Hayleap in the presence of Comac and Reith. Xylan admitted that he lied about their true destination due to the presence of Jordana, who is serving the San Tekka clan. Xylan says that he also wanted to mislead the Nihil in case they were tracking them. Having analyzed the Nihil's attack patterns, Xylan believes that they are being aided by sympathetic insiders within the Republic government. He is correct.
He's like, I don't know who it is.
But somebody in the
but
Republic's helping them.
someone's a snitch.
Yeah. He promises that they will arrive at the Graff family compound the following day before traveling to the Beringe sector. Xylan asks Syl to trust him. Master Comac accepts Xylan's explanation, having sensed through the Force that he is being truthful. The resplendent Pearl arrives at Everbloom, a space city that serves as the Graff family's compound. Upon landing in the hangar, the Jedi are attacked by several Nihil who unleash purple gas that incapacitates Xylan. Xylan's Gigorian bodyguard Basha carries him to safety and leaves the Jedi trapped outside the ship. Jordana, Reith, and Master Comac are stunned by the Nihil. Vernestra wounds the Nihil militant by slicing off his hand with her lightsaber. She tells Emery to run before succumbing to the Nihil's gas. Aboard the ship's cockpit, Syl hears the fighting outside. She attempts to leave the cockpit, but is blocked by Basha, who tells her to return. The two fight, and Syl's Volca Remy comes to her aid, stunning him with an electronic bolt. Syl exits the ship to aid her friend Jordana, but is confronted by her mother, Chansey. Chansey orders Syl to stand down, but Syl is still bitter towards her mom. Chansey wants to reunite with her daughter and stuns the unwilling Syl. Later, Vernestra awakes in the luxurious Everbloom, where she is tended to by the Graff servant Safa with Sasaberry juice. Safa explains that the Nihil gas was originally manufactured by the Zygerians to suppress slave revolts. Fuck the Zygerians.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, you messaged.
While reading the book, I was like, man, everyone sure hates the Zygerians. Oh, wait, they're slavers. No wonder.
Yeah, they're that cat people in Clone Wars that are slavers.
Yeah, I was like...
yeah.
Why do they hate them so... Oh, never mind. Never mind, I get it.
She apologizes for the attack on behalf of the matriarch. She soon rejoins Jordana, Comac, and Remy, who are recovering from the effects of the Nihil gas. Vern learns that the Nihil have captured Syl and the Padawans. The Jedi confront an apologetic matriarch Catriona, who had been collaborating with Nihil elements on an experimental technology. As part of their contract, Xylan had agreed to bring them the girl Silvestri. When pressed on the Padawans, Catriona says that kidnapping the Padawans had not been part of the plan. Catriona agrees to lend the Jedi and Jordana their fastest ship, Vengeful Goddess, and directions to find the Nihil. When Vernestra asks her about the puzzle cube, Catriona explains that they are old prospector markings and that the glyphs translate as increase, decrease, and home. She reveals that the riddle to the puzzle cube is always return home, an old Santeca saying. While examining the puzzle cube, the Jedi and Jordana discover a holographic recording of a young girl who turns out to be the missing Mari Santeca. All the puzzle pieces are coming together.
A brief thing. Catriona knows... So Xylan Graff is the one who brokered
the deal
with the Nihil.
Yeah.
And she knows about the deal.
Correct.
But she wasn't going to do anything about it.
Yeah, she was basically like, I'm not going to interfere either way. What happens, happens.
Yeah.
But she also is like,
but this was also not part of the
she was
deal.
like, giving Jedi is not part of the deal, so go get your buddies.
And they're like, you're shady as hell.
But you're also helping us.
But also, thank fuck you.
Yeah.
It's like that situation.
Speaking of, Comac believes that Catriona is setting up Xylan as a scapegoat to conceal her own involvement. The Jedi depart on the Goddess to rescue Syl and the Padawans. Meanwhile, Syl awakes in a cell with the unconscious Emery and Reith. Following a struggle with her Nihil guardian Nan, Syl has a tense reunion with her mother Chansey. Syl is angry that her mother staged her own death and is collaborating with the Nihil. Chansey explains that she joined the Nihil after they offered to help her construct a prototype gravity well projector with the help of the Oracle. God, Chansey reminds me so much of a character from Knights of the Old Republic comic. Reminds me of Dimagol. In that, I'm working with the bad guys. Oh, and I've actually been working with them for a long time. Like, even before I faked my death. Like, I was already working with them and doing this shady shit.
Oh.
Because Dimagol was already working... I like the Knights of the Republic comic books. It's some of my favorite comic books in the Legends content. Dimagol is the main villain. A little bit of spoilers. Dimagol is a Mandalorian who's working on trying to clone the Force for Mandalorians. So he's like does experiments on Jedi to figure out how the Force works scientifically. This is why Malik is bald, because Malik was one of his test subjects that he tortured and. But yeah, eventually it's revealed. Oh yeah, no, I've been working. This isn't just a from the Mandalorian Wars did I start doing this. No, I've been studying how to do this since the end of the Jedi, since the end of the Sith War with Ulla Keldroma and like I picked up Ulla Keldroma's cape, which turned out to be Arca Jeth's cape, and was already studying DNA way back then. But yeah, so this is that situation where it's like. Yeah, no, I faked my death because I've always been working for them.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't new. I didn't just start working for them when I faked my death.
She's actually like, hey, do you remember your Auntie Lorna?
Yeah.
As in fucking
Lorna D?
I'm like, oh. Oh no.
Yeah. Oh, no, 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 no. But yeah, so, let's... what was it? Yeah, so, Syl is upset that her mother... hold on. Chansey explains that the captive Padawans are a tribute for the Eye, Marchion Ro, the leader of the Nihil, who is challenging the Republic. Syl is upset that her mother could consider sacrificing individuals as test subjects for the Nihil. Chansey tells Syl that she needs her help to run the Gravity's Heart due to the unreliability of the Nihil. Syl suggests that they run away, but Chansey tells her daughter that the Nihil have spies everywhere, including spies in the Senate. While Syl accepts her mother's view that the galaxy is uncaring and vast, she disagrees that this is a license to be selfish and irresponsible. Chansey leaves Syl to spend time with the unconscious Nan, hoping that the young Nihil will talk sense to her daughter. Using the coordinates given by Catriona, the Jedi and Jordana travel on the vengeful goddess towards Gravity's Heart, a beacon in the Barinj sector. Jordana explains that explains the disappearance of Mari Santeca for the Jedi. While meditating through the Force, Vernestra encounters a Force vision of the captive Mari Santeca, who appears in both her young and old form. She tells Vern that she has gone traveling, but that she has a path for her. Vern relates the vision to Master Comac and the others, who deduce there is a link between the visions and their destination. After exiting hyperspace, Vernestra, Jordana, and Remy depart the vengeful goddess in an escape pod to reach Gravity's Heart. A Nihil skiff attempts to intercept them, but Jordana shoots down the skiff. However, the escape pod is hit by debris. The trio brace for impact as the pod descends towards the station. Meanwhile, Reeth and Emery awake in their cell. Syl updates the two Padawans about their situation. Reeth recognizes Nan from an earlier adventure that we keep repeating. Nan convinces the Jedi and Syl to help escape the cell. However, she then takes the opportunity to flee the station. The trio are caught up in an explosion, which causes them to slide into a room containing a medical pod. The trio are cornered by the chapter by Dr. Utterson, who holds them at gunpoint. Vernestra guides the damaged escape pod into a large landing hangar, overturning one of the parked Nihil ships. The trio fight their way through several Nihil guards. Vern encounters the hallway from her vision, where she reunites with Jordana, Reeth, and Syl, who have been exposed to Nihil gas. Syl covers the gas canister with an empty trash can. Emery points Vernestra to the medical pod containing the ancient Mari Santeca, whom both Vern and Jordana recognize. Through the Force, the frail Mari tells Vernestra that she has gone traveling and that she has a gift for her, which she describes as one last path before she passes on. Realizing that Mari is half dead and wants to pass on to the next plane, Vernestra uses her lightsaber to slice through the hoses connected to Mari's pod, freeing her from her prison and allowing her to die as a free woman. As the Jedi, Jordana, Syl, and Remy head to the station's hangar, they find the Gravity's Heart under attack by Republic Defense Coalition forces led by Master Elzar Mann. There he is.
He is in this book.
Just later.
Yep.
Just much, much later. Like near the end. The Nihil Force... So that means we got all three of the trio to appear in this book. The Nihil forces at the station scatter. While searching for a ship, Syl encounters her mother Chansey, who attempts to convince her daughter to leave with her aboard the Switchback. Syl refuses, not wanting to be used by her strange mother. Vernestra uses the Force to throw Chansey's blaster out of her hand. As Chansey flees, Vern finds a shuttle that allows the Jedi, Sil, Jordana, and Remy to escape Gravity's Heart before it is destroyed by longbeam cruisers. Following the events at Gravity's Heart, Vernestra attends a debriefing with the Jedi Council. Master Terry Rosasan asks if her young age led Xylan Graf to believe that he can manipulate as a bargaining chip in his dealings with the Nihil. Vern responds that Xylan is solely responsible for his actions and says that she is only aware that Xylan had convinced the Republic to fund a scientific mission to the Bergen sector. She explains that Master Comac's caution had led to the deployment of the coalition forces from the Heidsel system to aid them. Master Stellan testifies that Catriona Graf has identified Lorna D as a key Nihil leader and talks about the Graf family's dealings with the Nihil. He advocates a public trial of the complicit members of the Graf family and advocates a fully coordinated military response. Master Rosasan expresses concern about the Jedi becoming soldiers. Vernestra and Imri are dismissed from the meeting. They also chat with Master Comac, who reassures them that they did the best they could with the information they had. Vern confides that she did not disclose her connection to Mari Santeca or the path that she gave her. She explains that she told the council that they had found Mari and had given the puzzle box to Jordana to return to her family. Vern thinks that the Jedi are not yet ready to learn about her hyperspace visions. Meanwhile, Sil learns that Graf Holdings Incorporated has gifted the vengeful goddess as a consolation gift. Jordana also finds a message from Xylan apologizing to Sil for her subterfuge. He explains that he left the ship behind as payment for her services prior to the Republic's seizure of the Graf family's assets. Xylan tells Sil that she has a friend on Takodana who is looking for enterprising new partners and advises her to get in touch with that friend. I wonder who it could be. Maybe our favorite Takodana character.
Who the hell is on Takodana?
Who do you think? Yeah, Maz Kanata.
Oh.
Because this would be after the Jedi Temple on Takodana is destroyed, but Maz Kanata's palace is still just hanging tight. Because it doesn't get messed up until hundreds of years later. Xylan tells Sil that, let's see. Sil and Jordana decide to travel to Takodana to exploit this opportunity. Jordana decides to take a break from her duties for the Santeca family. Sil also plans to stop by Port Hayleap and pick up the rest of her crew. Imri also visits his friends to wish them farewell. Prior to the destruction of the Gravity's Heart, Nan escaped with Chansey Yarrow aboard the Switchback. Unwilling to return to Marchion Row empty-handed, she decides to stay with Chansey, which is set up for Fallen Star. Later, the Switchback is captured and boarded by Graf family forces. The two meet with Matriarch Catriona Graf and Xylan. Chansey tells the Matriarch that the ship's cargo hold contains the routes and preliminary data and the datacrons. I got it. I was just
Having some trouble.
Yeah. I've been reading a lot. Well, I'm also been reading a lot. True. I'm starting to get like cotton mouth a little bit just from how much.
Drink.
I have been. I need actual water, but I'll get that after. Chansey says that her research has proved her hypothesis that hyperspace can be vulnerable to attack, but not the heavy-handed sort that Marchion Row favors. She thinks that hyperspace warfare would require a more sophisticated kind of upheaval. The Matriarch decides to support Chansey's offer. Xylan confirms that he has signed the vengeful goddess over to Silvestri as consolation for his subterfuge. Xylan also confirms that the Graf family have prepared a new laboratory for Chansey on an unlisted station built into an asteroid in the Henestian sector. Chansey tells the Grafs that her research into gravity well projectors had drawn the interest of the Nihil and one of their sympathizers in the Galactic Senate. Wonder who that is. She adds that the late Mari Santeca played a crucial role in helping them develop a more successful version of the gravity well protector that can predict timing as well as direction. Matriarch Catriona also offers Nan a place with the Graf family, since the Republican Jedi are taking actions against the Nihil. Realizing that the Nihil may eventually fall, Nan asks the Grafs what they want to know. And that is Out of the Shadows.
Yeah.
Woo!
The funny thing is, Speaking of the gravity's heart, right?
Yeah.
They point out that it only actually worked out of the 50 times they fired it 4 times.
Yeah. So okay. We kind of talked about how, to us, this book could have been... It's not bad, but it could have been better. And because of the way it's written, I like Justina Ireland's writing. She does a really good job, because I was talking about it with Char.
Yeah.
And, Justina Ireland is not bad.
No.
And, in fact, I'm excited that she's getting an adult novel in Phase 2, because she's the one that's writing Path... She's writing Path of Deceit, which comes out really soon.
All right.
That's why we're going to be in the High Republic a bit longer, because Phase 2 is starting, this upcoming month. And we're going to talk about this month's schedule for our show in regards to that. But this could have been split to 2 books. Because the pace for this book, there's just so much important information dropped in this book that it's okay, it's good that this book exists to drop all this information, but you could have spread it out. But I also understand that they were trying to have 3 books for each, for the phase. So 3 adult books, 3 junior novels, 3 young adult novels. This is the second of the young adult novels, and this is the middle piece. So they got to put everything that's before the last book. Everything that's important for the last book has to be in this book.
Have to set everything up.
And so I wish they had been able to spread it out more. But at the end of the day, I'm glad this book exists, and I like this book. I just don't like that I forget what's in it, as soon as I put it down. And so, and I've talked about this with other people. I'm not the only one. That's how I know I'm not crazy on this thing, where I'm not the only one who forgets what happened. And, you, however, remember, but you also, finished it this morning.
Yeah. Finished at 12 o'clock last night.
Yeah, you texted me around 6. You texted the group chat around 6 going, hey, I finished it.
Yeah.
Because I remember waking up and seeing the text, and I was like, okay. And so, overall, it's still a good book. I think... I think it's a strong book, but it's so forgettable that I don't... What did I give... The real question becomes, what did I give Race to Crash Point Tower? Did I give that a 7?
I think so.
Then this would be a 7.5. Because it's better, because I still think Race to Crash Point Tower is the weakest of the High Republic books. This is just the most forgettable of the High Republic books. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? It's not bad, it's just forgettable.
Ow.
So I give it 7.5. I feel like you're gonna give it much higher. Because I feel like you like this. I like this book. Don't get me wrong. I might even if this book wasn't a book that I forgot so easily, I would give it an 8. But I have to give it 7.5.
I think the problem that it has is that its pacing is...
It's a pacing issue.
Very fucking fast.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's a pacing issue. The content's good, it's the pacing.
There's not enough room to breathe for this one.
Hell, just reading that all of that, I would...
Yeah.
That's a lot of content, and once again, this is a book that's 200 pages on the PDF. So, yeah.
It's not bad. It's just a very fast-paced story.
Yeah.
I gotta agree with you. It's a 7.5.
Okay. I was expecting you to give it maybe an 8, but yeah.
Nah.
Okay, so next week's gonna be easier. We're going to a short story. We're going back to Starlight. So let's go ahead and announce what's the schedule for the month at the moment.
Yeah.
Because I promised last week that we would. So next week we are reading Starlight Past Mistakes. So we're going back to our Starlight characters. And then the week after, you're getting your first audio drama.
All right. Great.
Because this one you're going to have to listen to because it's an audio drama. If it was an audio book, if it was a book, I wouldn't care. But because it's an audio drama, you have to experience it as an audio drama. You can't just read the script. Reading the script versus listening to an audio drama are two totally different experiences. So audio drama is the way we're going. And that audio drama is the High Republic Tempest Runner. And then so that's the 8th. So next week we're doing Starlight Past Mistakes. On the 8th we're doing Tempest Runner. On the 15th we are going to talk about the High Republic Path of Deceit, which is the brand new High Republic novel for Phase 2. Phase 2's first book, which I'm currently trying to get an arc for. I'm working on it. I actually got some emails a couple days ago trying to get a hold of it. Because it wasn't through my usual source, so I had to go to a new source. Because they were like, hey, email this person about that. Because it's not Penguin Random House doing it. It's Disney Publishing themselves. So you got to go through Disney Publishing.
I see.
Yeah, it's a whole... I mean, it's good that people are willing to point me in the right direction, but the fact that I got to go through all these people, it's like I got to remember who's with what
Who
book.
to talk to about what?
And then after Path of Deceit on the 22nd, we'll go back to Starlight Shadows Remain. So we're going to be trying to finish Phase 1 now that Phase 2 is coming out. But Phase 2 is going to continue coming out. So on the 29th, we will talk about Quest of the Jedi comic, which is a one-shot. And that's basically like the one-shot intro for the Phase 2 comics. And then that is our schedule for October at the moment, unless something massive happens.
All right.
I think one of those is going to have to be pre-recorded because I'll be getting ready for a wedding on one of the... So one of those will have to be pre-recorded. So... Yeah. No, I didn't. I knew the wedding was coming up on a Saturday. I just forget which Saturday it is. It's the 15th? Oh, so it's the big High Republic one. So it's the Path of Deceit. So the start of Phase 2. So that's gonna be pre-recorded, I guess.
All right.
So yeah. That's true. Yeah. I'll just be in a nice suit.
It's gonna be a weird day.
Yeah, I'll be in a suit. You'll be dressed the way you normally are, and yeah, you should
I don't own a suit.
rent one.
Not doing that either.
Rent one for the bit. No. I don't have like a full three piece suit. Mine's more like a vest and like.
I'm in wearing a tie. I'm gonna deck the shit out of.
What about a bow tie?
Not even that. Fuck them. I don't want that choking.
What about a
hazard.
clip-on?
No.
Oh, no. If you're going to do a clip-on, do a zipper tie, but better.
Oh yeah.
Because I have a father figure who did not know how to tie ties. He was a clip-on guy.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I never learned.
Yeah.
But clip-on ties are tacky. Zip ties, you never know.
Oh yeah, that's true. But yeah. And just to kind of heads up on the rest of on the schedule so far, unless things keep coming out, the plan is that we will end the season in March with you figuring out what the timeline is for everything we've gone over.
Oh, god damn it.
And I already have a great title for that episode, but yeah, I'm excited for this month because we're getting Phase 2 of the High Republic, and I know you're excited for that. And hopefully I get some arcs for that, and because I love the opportunities that I've been getting with the arcs. I need to figure out how to get comic book arcs because M brought that up when she was our guest.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because remember she's mentioned that her co-host for her podcast get comic book arcs. I need to figure out how to do that because I want comic book arcs as well. Because I also read the comics and I also want that. I want all the Star Wars arcs. Give me everything. But no. But on a serious note, that is the end of the episode. Like I said, next week we're going to talk about Starlight. What did I say? Past mistakes?
Yes.
Yeah. All right, and we'll see you guys next week. Thank you guys for watching. If you are watching on twitch.tv/CJ Star Wars 94, feel free to follow or subscribe. Both really help out. We are almost at 100 followers, so 4 more of y'all is all we need to get to 100. Subscribing also helps because that financially supports us. You can also subscribe to us on youtube.com/Escape Reality Films, where we do this, and I also do my book reviews for the arcs that I get. I also do them on my TikTok, which is Caleb Lockwood 5. I really need to like.
You gotta take out the other 4, man.
No. The real thing is I need to rebrand.
Oh yeah.
Which is something that me and the other Star Wars content creators talk about. I have an issue with my branding in that I'm CJ on some things, I'm Escape Reality on another thing, and then I use my like there's no uniformity to it, and I need to do that. I thankfully my Twitter is uniform now. It's Escape Reality 94. So that's a little bit.
That's another different name.
No, because it keeps the Escape Reality brand, and that's the brand I'm trying to build for. There's not enough. They didn't give me enough. They don't give you enough letters for me to have Escape Reality like films, which is what I would have used, or Escape Reality. Escape Reality Media is really what the umbrella is going to be, but. Well, media. It's because I want to do books and comics and yeah. But and so, anyways, back to the shilling of everything. So on where was I? Oh yeah. So if you also want to support us, we also have a Patreon, which is patreon.com/Escape Reality Films. Which you can, there's actually some new artwork for my comic up there.
Yeah.
Because every week on whenever we do the podcast, new artworort gets thrown up there.
You showed it to me on Thursday, didn't you?
Yeah, I showed you some of the work, and so like, yeah, Colton Holcomb has been doing a great job. He's already like starting to lay out. I haven't shown the artwork to the Patreon yet, but he's already laying out page 2, and we're not really done with. He's already figuring this comic out. He's excited as much as I am to make this, and so that's great. I was not sure how excited he'd be, but I'm glad that he's enjoying this as much as I am, even with him having a day job. Like, so that's really where the slowdown for some of the art is. It's a day job, but we now have a weekly thing where he sends me something at least once a week, and so I provide it to you guys. And so that's the benefit of being part of our Patreon page, is you get some of that. Let's also thank Seth's mom, who is a consistent Patreon member. At the $10 level, Patreon takes their cut, so it becomes $9 for us. But that's still, every little bit helps, because eventually, the goal is to be able to pay to basically get to. You paid for this as well as me, to where this can just be our full-time thing, where there are more podcast ideas I want to do. Like, I've been talking with some of our friends. We want to do a Broadway podcast where we just talk about Broadway shows and musicals and stuff, because we just like that stuff.
Y'all keep suckering me into watching musicals with you,
and you enjoy them. Yeah.
However, I do occasionally feel like I'm the only one who actually paid attention to the plot.
Oh yeah, no, me and you and Ty fell asleep at the end of the last one, but it ran late.
That is true.
It ran late. But that's also because we waited because Kinsey took forever to get ready to watch it with us. Because Ty got there and then Kinsey's like, "Oh, I'm gonna shower now," and it's like, "But Ty's here now, so now we can watch it." Also, we got you to watch Andor, so that also made it take a minute, because we had to finish episode 3, because we couldn't leave you off on episode 2. You can't stop at episode 2.
Yeah, you can.
You can, but it's you can, but there's just so much that it's like, oh no, episode 3 is where it really. But that's a different episode of the podcast where we're going to talk about Andor, which I hope we can get M back for that because I do want M on that for that episode. Yeah, I get to talk about it tomorrow. I was about to give y'all a shout out. Yeah. So speaking of Andor, I would like to thank the Mobcast Network for helping provide this space.
You're welcome. We love you.
They are the other podcast network that we work with. Mobcast Network can be found on youtube.com/Mobcast Network. They're also on TikTok now. Is it just Mobcast? At Mobcast. And
Which I was surprised I could get.
yeah. And they're also on any podcasting app that you can find. If they're not there, reach out. Yeah. And they do a couple shows. We got the Cult Movie Cantina, which is wrapping up with one more episode. One more episode for the season. We just did our episode on Clerks 3. I liked Clerks 3 more than the rest, but if you want to hear the opinions of why, go check it out. It's good. Yeah, I think it's a good episode. And then after that, we'll have our little wrap up episode, and that's coming out this upcoming week. Yeah, we announced season 4's films, and that's basically a show where we watch cult films and we talk about them, and we show them to somebody who hasn't seen them, and we get drinks. And then also we're bringing back My Star Wars Life because Andor's out, or as Luthen says, Andor. Andor Mondays. Andor Days. Yeah. The Andor Days. It sounds like end of days. It's Andor Days. But yeah, we're going to talk about Cassian Andor and all that. I don't know how we're going to do that yet. I don't know if we're doing all. I suggested that it's hard to talk about. Okay, so we are doing all 3 in one episode. Yeah, I meant like I suggest the reason I didn't say it was hard. When I said that I meant like it'd be hard to just do like 1 or 2, because it feels like the 3 are meant to be talked about together. And also the plot is easy. It's easy enough to cut up into 1 like hour talk. Nice. So I'm excited because we're filming that tomorrow, and that will come out Monday, I guess. Yeah. And so that's stuff to look forward to. I will be on that show because I help produce, and I'm a unofficial co-host. Yeah. I'm number 2. Yeah. But I'm a Padawan on Star Wars. And then I would also like to thank Gamers and Geeks, who are currently having a convention outside, as we mentioned before. They are our local game shop, not to be confused with Geeks and Gamers. We don't like them. We like Gamers and Geeks. And if you're ever in the Mobile, Alabama area, come check them out. They have an arcade in the back where you pay $10 and you can play some free play games for the day. You get the whole day of access to it. I've seen Mario back there. I've seen Mortal Kombat 1 through 3. They got a machine with like 100 different games, like 300 different games on it, including Michael Jackson's Moonwalker. And also, if you just like tabletop games, they also got that. They've got they've got your Magic the Gathering, your D&D, your Warhammer 40K, yeah, your Pokemans. And then right next to them, we've got Engage Gaming, which is a different store, but if you pay a monthly membership fee, you get it's cheaper because either way you're paying an hourly rate to play on a console. You can play on PS4, Xbox, or PC, or even VR. And you pay by the hour for how much you play. They provide the games and the consoles, so all you got to provide is the money and the time. If you're a member, you get a slightly reduced price. And so if there's this game that you've been wanting to play, and you just don't want to buy the game yourself, that's a great way to try it out. It's also great for people like me who want to mess with VR but can't afford to get a VR machine themselves. So, because it's still cheaper at the end of the day, even if you're not a member. And so that is all of our shout-outs, I think. So I guess we'll see you guys next week, once again with Starlight. Have a good one. I have spoken.